For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a 4-day ceasefire to release 50 hostages held in Hamas custody in exchange for 150 Palestinians detained in Israeli prisons, many of them women and minors. The ceasefire is expected to take effect Thursday morning. It could also be extended each day for the release of 10 additional hostages held by Hamas. Some 240 people were taken by Hamas and other Islamic extremist groups October 7th. Israel has released a list of some 300 Palestinians that could be released as part of the exchange, giving the public 24 hours to object. Israeli media is reporting many of the names are teenage boys who were imprisoned for rioting or throwing rocks in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. 123 are children. 13 are women, some convicted of attempted stabbings. Many of those on the list were arrested but never tried in court, according to the Israeli publication Haaretz. Human Rights Watch reports Israel has imprisoned some 2,000 Palestinians without charge. Haaretz is also reporting Israel's refusing to release prisoners convicted of murder. Those convicted of lesser crimes could be on the list for release. Both Hamas and Israel's leadership are vowing to continue the war despite the pause in fighting. Israel airstrikes continued today. More than 100 Palestinians were reportedly killed across Gaza. Gaza's health ministry is now reporting at least 14,000 Palestinians have been killed since Israel launched strikes. Some 5,500 of them are children.
Now, the death toll among children is sickening.
United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF spokesperson James Elder said that's more than 100 children each day, and he warns those numbers will rise due to restricted access to water and sanitation.
Cholera has been and remains our great fear. There have been so many things in Gaza that become lethal and game changers for children, and most of them are falling from the sky. If there is a cholera outbreak, that's where we fear the number of children now well into the thousands, plus around 2,000 somewhere under rubble. We feel that they will rise exponentially if there's a cholera outbreak.
Elder says child deaths are avoidable in Gaza if aid could reach the 1.3 million displaced people, including the 800,000 taking refuge in UN shelters. The World Health Organization says it's working to evacuate 3 hospitals in Gaza. In the north, Al-Shifa, an Indonesian hospital, and the Anglican-run Al-Ahli Hospital. Forces have surrounded Al-Shifa and Indonesian hospitals. The Pentagon says a U.S. airbase in Iraq was hit by a ballistic missile attack. This comes as U.S. bases in the Middle East are reporting an uptick in attacks amidst Israel's war on Palestinians. FSN's Trent Murray reports.
Several U.S. service personnel have been injured after a ballistic missile attack on their base in Iraq. The Pentagon has blamed an Iranian-backed militia for the strike overnight on the Al-Assad airbase. U.S. military said it responded with retaliatory strikes. The Defense Department has also confirmed that there's been a sharp uptick in hits on U.S. personnel in the region. Analysts are warning that America's foes in the Middle East are using tensions between Israel and Hamas as a justification to attack American interests in the region. Trent Murray.
The world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, was hit with a $4.3 billion penalty in the U.S. Its CEO pled guilty to felony federal crime for enabling a nearly $1 billion in payments to sanctioned states and people involved in sex trafficking, terrorism, and illicit drugs. Christopher Martinez reports.
A 3-year investigation found that cryptocurrency exchange Binance turned a blind eye on U.S. anti-money laundering laws, allowing users to skirt sanctions and enabling nearly $900 million in transactions between U.S. and Iranian users, as well as others involving users in Syria and in Russian-occupied regions of Ukraine. On Tuesday morning, a plea deal was reached, including a $4.3 billion penalty. Merrick Garland is U.S. Attorney General.
Binance prioritized its profits over the safety of the American people. In part because of the crimes it committed, Binance became the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world.
During 5 years of business with U.S. customers, Binance enabled almost $1 billion in illegal payments to sanctioned countries and individuals. The settlement bars Binance from conducting business with U.S. customers and assigns Monitor for 3 years with the power to scrutinize company records. Attorney General Garland hopes the record penalty sends a message to others, noting that in the past month, the Justice Department has successfully prosecuted the CEOs of the world's two largest cryptocurrency exchanges in separate criminal cases.
The message here should be clear. Using new technology to break the law does not make you a disruptor. It makes you a criminal.
Reporting for Pacifica Radio News KPFA, I'm Christopher Martinez.
And it's one of the busiest days of the year for travel. Some 2.7 million people are expected to board flights today. Sunday is expected to set an all-time record of 2.9 million. The Federal Aviation Administration and airlines say they are prepared for the onslaught. People should plan to arrive at airports 2 to 3 hours before their flight. I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.